Welcome to 1001 Careers. My name is Evelina, and I invited today's guest. His name is Alain, and he's a software engineer. He was born and raised in Seattle area in the state of Washington, and he has over 9 years of experience in software engineering. He got his degree in computer science at the University of Washington, and now is ready to share his experience, how he chose his path, and any advice he has for people who are interested in software engineering. Hi, Elaine. Thank you so much for coming today.
Yep, hello.
Hi. So can you please introduce yourself for people who don't know you?
Yeah, I mean, I thought you did a pretty good job, but I guess, hi, I'm Alain. I'm 32 years old, and I've been in the industry for about like 9 years now. Um, as she said earlier, I grew up in the Washington area. I was born in Seattle and raised a little bit north of Seattle. And then I went to school at UW, got my bachelor's there, and then after that, started working in the Seattle area.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's start with your earlier years when you were a high school student, or maybe like just even middle school. What originally got you interested in tech and software engineering?
Well, I wasn't even interested in tech then. I actually hated tech back in middle school, high
Oh,
school.
wow.
I was actually interested in math back then.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to the college thinking I was going to get a math degree, and I started with the math major actually. But then my math teacher told me I should try out like a programming class. So I did. I actually really enjoyed that. So that's when I started to really get interested in tech. I think it was like
Mm-hmm.
my first year in college.
Mm-hmm.
So for a while, I was kind of like, I thought I was going to do math, but I was doing like programming on the side too, through my classes. But then I think eventually there was like a switch midway through college where I was like, okay, I think I actually enjoy programming more than doing maths. Or at least I saw a better career in that. So then I decided to make the switch around like I guess junior year of college, and then I sort of didn't look back then. Or
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
From major in math to major in computer science.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And what originally got you interested in math?
Um, well, I guess I was pretty good at it. Like usually like in class, like I usually have like the highest math scores or whatever. So it's kind of like at first a pride thing. Like I guess I felt good about doing math because I felt like I was good at it. And then sort of in high school, like I guess I also got more passionate about math because like I had a teacher that like really liked to do math proofs and like I actually really enjoyed doing those too. And then so like on top of my own normal math homework, I would actually also try to like sort of learn how to derive or prove the math equations we were given in class.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, and then back then I always thought that like when you actually learn how like an equation is like derived or whatever, I thought it was like really interesting. Like
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And I
So,
still have that interest, but like I guess I just decided not to pursue a career in that specifically.
mm-hmm. So it all started in middle school or elementary school, like when you understood you're good at math.
Well, I think it was kind of obvious in like middle school, I guess, but I
Mm-hmm.
didn't develop like I guess a true passion for it until high school.
Mm-hmm. And how difficult? So, originally you were really interested in math, but then you discovered software engineering or coding through the class in the UW, right? University of
Hmm.
Washington.
Yeah.
Was it very difficult to transition from math to coding or from math to computer science?
No, honestly, because like both subjects like require like I guess logical thinking and problem solving, right? So I think it was a very natural switch from math to computer
Mm-hmm.
science.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah. If
Yeah.
anything, I would actually say math is harder than computer science. I
Oh,
think I
wow.
actually made my life easier switching to
Oh,
computer
easy.
science.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you recommend people studying math in high school and middle school?
I mean, I would say if there's no available computer science class in your high school, then yeah, math's a good
Mm-hmm.
substitute.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so let's switch to your college years and
Mhm.
tell me about your first job or internships in college.
Yeah, so in college, again, I first started out thinking I was going for math. So my first job in college was actually as a math tutor.
Mm-hmm.
So I tutored calculus and the various UW math classes up until 300 level, like the mid-level math classes. I tutored that for about like 1 to 2 years. And then I guess when I got more serious in computer science, then I quit that job and then I went for an internship at Microsoft I think it was the summer after junior year of college. Yeah. so I had a Microsoft internship there and I got the return offer and I basically worked at Microsoft right after graduation because of that.
Mm-hmm. And you graduated in 2016, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And how important was your degree, a bachelor's degree in formal education in your career?
To be honest, I feel like it wasn't that important. The more important thing was actually getting the internship, and I think that got my foot in the door into tech, I guess, as far or at least getting into Microsoft specifically.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like really it's not so much the degree, but more like the opportunities um the computer science department gave me. Like there was lots of like career fairs or whatever, like networking opportunities in that college. I think that's kind of the more valuable thing than the actual degree itself, I think.
You mean the classes? The
Yeah, I mean the classes and like the career fairs where you can actually talk to recruiters or whatever. Like I think the reason why I got the internship was because I talked to a recruiter at one of the career fairs and sort of
Mhm.
emailed her, right? And then asked for an interview and then went through that whole process through with the
Yeah.
company, right?
Yeah, so you used the reputation of UW, yeah, and the employer came to your
Yeah,
campus.
I used their resources to help me get into the
Hmm.
company. Yeah.
Yeah. And so um, let's talk about not maybe not formal education. I heard that there are a lot of people who start in tech without a formal degree, like they go to a boot camp or they do
Yeah.
self-study. How much of a weight does it have right now in the job market?
Like, you're asking like how effective a boot camp would be to get into tech, or
Yeah,
like,
especially if you know, I mean, in 2026, right? In the
hmm,
lately.
I mean, that's a good question. I don't think I know the answer specifically, but I know I've heard people that have done it. But I would say like, I've heard that, I mean, as long as you like sort of pass the interview, right, you're gonna be fine, no matter like what degree you have. Like, I've heard of people that like don't even have a CS degree and like get and like they pass their interviews and they do find their job. But I
Mhm,
think the thing is, I think it's harder to have the more fundamental concepts down if you just have a boot camp and not like the full 4 year degree. I
mhm,
think the value of a 4 year degree is sort of like you really get the basic like sort of fundamentals of like say data structures and sort of programming problem solving through a 4 year degree. And I think that's harder to replicate through a boot camp.
mhm.
So I would say if you go the boot camp route, you would have to do a lot more self study if you want to sort of like match the skill of someone with like a 4 year degree or whatever.
Yeah. Well, on the other hand, even people who have college degrees, yeah, in computer science, they still cannot get jobs.
Well, yeah, that's true. Like just because you
Mhm,
have a degree doesn't mean you're actually like qualified necessarily. Like, yeah, but I feel like you have more resources at a university to sort of learn what you need to learn versus like at a boot camp.
mhm.
But that being said, I
Um,
don't think a boot camp is a bad thing to try if you just want to get in the field. It's probably a lower time investment, but I think you have to more do more on your own to make up for the lack of the resources that a university would give you.
mhm. What kind of experiences are really matter to employer? Any
Experiences,
projects?
yeah, I mean, I think a lot of tech companies they want if you don't have an internship or job experience yet, they want you to have like some type of sort of personal project that you can sort of
Mhm,
show off. I think for me, what I did for Microsoft, I built this sort of matrix calculator and posted it online and was
mhm,
able to show that to the recruiter, and that I think sort of also helped me like land the interview and whatever.
mhm. And let's talk a little bit about skills. For somebody who just starting out, and I know they're um, a combination of soft skills and technical skills, right, that you need to have in order to be competitive enough.
Hmm.
What skills do you think matter most for someone who just starting out?
You mean like soft skills versus
Yeah.
tech skills, or like
Let's start with technical skills.
yeah, I mean, I would say you should be competent in at least one like programming language, because that's probably the language you would use during your interview.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then depending on your role, like say you're interviewing for like a web company, right? They probably want you to know like, front end like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, or like or if you are applying for more like a backend heavy company, maybe they want you to know like Java, C, C++, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think depending on the company, there's some knowledge of their main programming language is good. Um, and I think for the soft skills, like as long as you can sort of communicate your problem solving and like your reasoning in the interview and at your job, I think that's sort of the what you should have.
hmm We can talk a little bit more about soft skills at the job like later.
Okay.
Okay, and now let's focus on your present. We talk a little bit about your college years, right, and even high school or middle school.
Mhm.
Let's focus on your present. Can you tell us what's your typical day in life of a software engineer is?
I mean, typical day. I mean, I wake up sort of a little later in the morning because I'm not a morning person. Thankfully, my company usually has the first meeting at like after 10 a.m. So that works out for me. But basically, I'll sort of log in. I'll catch up on any Slack messages that I might have had. And then like I'll go into like my Scrum meeting, which is in the morning, so it's just sort of like a daily update, right? And once I do that, then I sort of like up until lunch, sort of I think I sort of plan out what I want to code for the rest of the day. Um, and then sort of after lunch, it's kind of like when I actually like try to like have my focus time and sort of like code and whatnot. And then sometimes during the day, like I'll have people ping me for help or whatever. Like I try to get those done as quickly as I can so I can get back to coding. Um, but yeah, that's usually my ideal day.
Okay, and what kind of problems do you enjoy solving the most, or any task that you particularly enjoy in your
Any task
career?
I enjoy? I mean, I think for me, I like creating sort of new code. I guess like because I've been in other another job where it's like you're sort of just maintaining an existing product, right? And I think that's kind of like boring. So I like projects where it's like I'm creating something new and I can sort of like write new and fresh code and whatnot. I think that's what I enjoy the most.
Okay. Um, how much, so going back to the soft skills, yeah, when you mentioned the teamwork and
Mhm.
communication, how much of your job involves teamwork and versus working independently?
Yeah, I mean, so I've gotten to the point in the career where like I'm sort of a lead. So it's like usually when I'm working on a project, I have other like junior engineers working with me. So at the very least, I need to make sure they understand what they're doing as far as like their share of work. And I think that at the very least involves like sort of maybe talking and meeting with them, like explaining to them like, hey, you're doing this and whatnot. So I think some basic communication skills are necessary there, just like sort of communicate to them like what they need to do and like, sort of explain the technical problem to them. Um, yeah, I think that's the main thing. And
Hmm
also like I do some presenting too, so some presentation skills. Um, yeah.
hmm Okay. And what is something about the profession that most people don't realize?
Let's see. That's a good question. Most people don't realize. I don't know, actually. I don't know, like what impression do you have of people that are in tech?
hmm well, I'm the example. I'm not a software engineer, so I have a very basic understanding of this profession. And I
Okay.
think it's just probably a lot of times it's remote, so you just stay at home or you're in the office and you just code on your own. And then, of course, you have team meetings to
Hmm.
discuss all of that. But it's just a very problem-solving job where you just look at your laptop and just code.
I mean, I think that would be true if you're working from home mostly, but I think companies nowadays are making you return to the office. Like my company, not really, but like lots of other companies are.
Yeah, and then if you're in the office, you just sit at your desk and you just use the laptop or computer and you just code.
Well, like if you're trying to like actually work, yeah, but like I mean, when you're in the office, like there's more like I think like my team uses that more office space for like more like in-person meetings, right?
Mhm.
Um, then also like there's obviously like team lunches or whatever, so where you actually like talk to your teammates, right? So it's not like pure isolation or anything like that.
Okay, so it's just like a lot of talking to each other. A lot
Definitely a
of.
lot more than if you were remote. I think if you are remote, then like your description is kind of a little more accurate, where it's like, yeah, you're more on your own.
Okay. So how can I tell if software engineering is a good fit for me or for
Yeah, I
anybody
would say
else?
it's a good fit if one, you like sort of problem solving and like you like doing puzzles and whatnot. And two, I think like if you're able to like sort of sit and think about a problem for like an hour plus at a time, and that doesn't bother you, I think software engineering could be a good fit for you. Um,
Love, enjoy problem solving, investigative, yeah, nature.
yeah.
Investigate.
And then also that you're tenacious, that you don't give up easily when you're stuck on a problem. I think that's also important because you will get stuck on a problem eventually. You need to have like sort of like the mental motivation to like sort of push through that and like not give up.
Okay. And what would you recommend someone who is a high schooler or college students focus on right now to be successful in this field?
Well, if possible, if there's a programming related class in your high school, I'd recommend taking that. If there isn't, I would say the closest replacement will probably your math class, probably, which you're
Okay.
required to take anyway, so everyone would do that. But yeah, I'd recommend those things. And I think there's probably nowadays like lots of like sort of, I guess, programming clubs or outside of school things you could probably try. I'm not too familiar with those, but I've heard those have been popping up lately.
Is it, you mean part of college?
No, I mean like I haven't tried to do this yet, but I've had other sort of friends sort of like volunteer for like sort of teaching coding to like other
Mm.
like high school students
Oh,
essentially.
oh,
I think that
okay.
might be an outside of school thing,
Oh,
like more
just
like
like
a club or that type of thing.
community, yeah.
So if
Maybe.
your school doesn't have like a specific class, maybe you could try to look for that.
Okay, okay. So your advice would be just focus on taking the class and try it out in the class.
Yeah, I mean, because like if you take a class, like I think you'll get a good idea if you enjoy programming at least. And if you don't
Mm-hmm.
enjoy it in your first class, I would probably not recommend you uh keep on doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've seen people like some of my college friends, like they were so interested in the money in CS, right? That they tried to take the CS class and then they hated it, but they still tried to continue it and it didn't really work out for them, right? So I don't
Mm-hmm.
recommend doing that. Like I'd recommend going to this field if you'll have some type of interest in like coding and problem solving, right?
And a great time to understand it is through taking the class and see how much you enjoy it.
Yeah, I think that's a good first
Mhm.
step.
Okay, and imagine somebody, yeah, like kind of likes to begin, yeah, the coding class or math class. W- what mistakes do you commonly see beginners make if they want to progress in the career or they're thinking about launching their career in tech and software?
I mean, like, are you talking about at the level of like high school, college, or like in their mid-career, like after
Um,
college?
College student who's about to graduate, for example.
Biggest mistake? I mean, hmm. So it's interesting because like my college was good at like sort of helping people sort of get their jobs. So I haven't really seen that many mistakes as far as getting a job goes.
Oh, what
But
club
I
are you
would
thinking
say like
about?
probably definitely I mean I would just say as long as you like make use of all your networking opportunities, like outside of class, like go to those career fairs or whatever, right? And sort of talk to people. I think that definitely gives you a good like leg up in like sort of starting your career at least.
Okay, and you mentioned the club. Oh, can you tell me more about it?
Oh, club.
Yeah, like was it a computer science club in UW, University of Washington?
Like there were a few related programming clubs, I think. I didn't really do those. I think more I was mostly referring to is sort of those career fairs that would they would have and like sort of those opportunities where you can like actually talk to recruiters of different companies. I think that's kind of the most useful thing
Okay,
outside of your CS classes.
yeah, and you mentioned the club before. It was
Oh yeah,
just.
that was more like I was talking that was more like a high school thing where it's like
Mhm.
if you don't have like say a programming class in high school, you could try to search for like some like club and outside of your school or whatever.
Okay. Um, and so I know computer science is a very like direct path, right, to software engineering.
Hmm.
You mentioned math. Are there any other majors that kind of work, out for if you want to be a software engineer?
I mean, I could see like the other hard sciences working out because they would teach you like the basic problem solving skills, probably physics or like
Mhm.
some other hard science.
Mhm.
But like those classes themselves won't have you practice programming though, so you probably have to program on the side on top of your major if you want to sort of get into the field from that major.
Okay, so it can be physics, major in physics, yeah, major in math,
I
major in
mean,
computer
like,
science.
I would say that, but I've also seen people like have some unrelated major and they just are fine also. So really, as
Hmm.
long as you pass the interview, you're okay.
Any
Um,
example of like ma unrelated majors that you have witnessed?
well, I don't know an example from my direct friend group, but I've heard from like a friend of a friend that there was this guy that like he studied at like I don't know some it was like some degree like almost like communications, like not really even like a tech degree or like a
Hmm.
science degree or anything. But then he ended up just like passing the tech interview and just he's doing fine in his job apparently. So
As a software engineer.
yeah.
Okay. And so a big concern that college students and high school students have is that even if you have degree in computer science, it's a very, very oversaturated field right now. And I know you graduated back in 2016, right? Or like 10 years
Hmm.
ago. And
Yeah.
probably at that time, the market was very
Yeah,
different.
that time the market was great. There wasn't any concern there.
Yeah, but right now we are watched by people who who are thinking about entering this field, or maybe already have a degree but still in college.
Hmm.
How competitive is this right now from what you heard? And is it still in demand though? Because people have
Yeah,
doubts right
so
now.
right now, like a lot of tech companies, at least for the past like year or two, they definitely weren't hiring at all. My company wasn't hiring. Like about like 5 years ago, I used to do interviews for people for my company and like I would decide like help them in the hiring process. But right now, like I'm not even doing that anymore because like my company isn't hiring.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely right now the industry is kind of like more like in a state where like companies are in hiring freezes and like they just aren't like there are also like layoffs too. So I think now is definitely a hard time to actually get a tech job.
Okay.
Um, yeah.
So would you recommend to go into the computer science right now, given
I
the
mean,
fact that there are
I would say if you're passionate about the field, go for it. But understand that like you're gonna have to grind a lot harder to get a job than you would have had to like say like 5, 10 years ago. Um, and like I've still heard of people, some people still getting jobs. They just have to spend a lot more effort to do so.
mm-hmm. Okay. Um, any advice though how to go through it? Because again, like it's extremely hard right now, yeah, to get a job.
Yeah, I mean
And
that's why you gotta make use of all those networking opportunities. Like basically send out your resume to as many recruiters as you can. And it's really just a numbers game, honestly. Not
mm-hmm,
much you can do besides like trying to apply to as many companies as you can. And of course, like make sure your tech skills are up to the point where like when you get the interview, you're able to hopefully like pass it.
mm-hmm. And also you have to go through the technical interview as well, right?
Yeah, and now that's a whole topic for how to prepare for those. But yeah,
Mm-hmm,
basically you need to be able to like for your first job probably you just need to be able to solve those algorithmic problems.
mm-hmm. Okay. And what roles do software engineers often move into later?
Like later in the career.
Hmm. Yeah, like management or
Yeah, I mean I would say there's a few paths I think like as you progress in your career, I think the minimum expectation is that you at least get to sort of, I guess, terminal level, which is like a lot of companies like senior engineer.
mhm,
Once you get to that point, like if you want, you can kind of just like sort of stay at that level if you want. Or if you want, you can sort of progress and like go like either the technical IC route or just like you go be like become like an architect and whatnot, like software architect, or you could
mhm,
go into management.
mhm. Are you
Yeah.
interested in just staying in, in a
Well, I think for now I'm pretty happy with my level because I've hit that level where it's like I could sort of stay if I want to.
mhm,
But I think like maybe in a few years I'll try to like sort of progress on the architect route or principal engineer route. I'm
mhm,
definitely personally not interested in management because I don't like managing people personally. I
mhm,
want to solve problems instead.
mhm, mhm.
Yeah.
Um, okay, let's let's talk a little bit about career diversity. For example, there's a person who wants to be or thinking about becoming software engineer, but maybe wants to do a career change. And right now we talked about the career progression, right?
Mm.
But what can be jobs, professions, occupations that are kind of similar to software engineering, but something different, for example?
Mm. That's a good question. I didn't really think about that.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I've heard of people sort of switching to like sort of more data science roles, once they get tired of software engineering. I'm not too familiar with that route though.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, that's the most I
Okay.
can think of right now. Or like maybe
Okay.
like teaching computer science
Okay.
to, yeah.
Okay. And so I'm curious about the resources. Or maybe you heard, or maybe you are reading any books or any like internet communities, or maybe even Reddit. I don't know. It can be anything. What kind of resources you generally recommend for people who are interested in software engineering or already in the field?
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends on what you need. Like, there's like, say you're wanting to prepare for a tech interview. There's definitely some good books out there. I think the classic one's called Cracking the Coding Interview, which I think every college student will come across.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then there's also like sort of other books on like more general like knowledge that are just good to have. Like I don't know the specific title, but like there's books on like sort of system design or like different like coding patterns are useful to know. So I think those books, if you want to read them, they can definitely be useful.
Okay. What about any maybe YouTube videos or I don't know, in anything else that maybe you follow to make sure you keep up, you're
Oh,
keeping up
I
to date?
mean, I personally don't feel like I need to follow YouTube videos. I feel like I'm good enough at my job. I don't need to do that. But no, I think like once you actually get in your job, like assuming you have like a good like sort of manager and team, like I think it'll be obvious like sort of what you need to do to sort of like stay. What do you need to sort of learn in the job, right? Because I think each
Mhm.
company is sort of like different, and they all each have their own like tech stack and like their own like quirks, right? So I think it's more I think the more useful thing is just sort of staying aware of what's relevant to your current team and organization and learning what's relevant to that.
And the way to do that is go through their website or LinkedIn
Well, I
or
think it depends on like your team, but like I think good resources basically you can definitely use your one-on-ones with your manager and ask for resources within the company. I think my company definitely has like more formal websites where you can sort of like take like sort of technical classes or like there's more like resources, I guess, like specific internal company web links or websites, right?
Mhm.
But I don't know if every company has that. But
Okay,
definitely
and
like Salesforce and Microsoft have had that. So
mhm.
maybe as in a smaller company, they wouldn't have that.
Okay, and can you give me like three pros, yeah, three advantages that you see working in software engineering? Because you have already, yeah, 9 years of experience in that.
Three
And
advantages.
and then three disadvantages.
So three advantages. I mean the first obvious one, the pay is usually pretty good. Haven't had to worry about money with this job. Two, um, I think with the right team, I think the job is very flexible. Like, from my experience, has been as long as you get your project and your work done, they don't really like track your hours or like they're not really strict on like sort of when you log in or log off or anything, right? Like, I'm usually able to like have a doctor's appointment midday if I need to, right? And I sort of have that flexibility. And the same with like assuming you're not in the office too, like you can basically work from anywhere for a little bit. So sometimes like if I would need to like visit a friend in Virginia, right? Sometimes I'll take my work laptop and I'll work from there for a few days, and that's completely fine. So I think the
Mhm,
flexibility is a very nice perk.
mhm,
Um, and then I feel like tech companies sort of what's the word? Splurge on their employees more compared to other companies. Like this is more relevant back in the day when there was less layoffs, but like it used to be that like we get like lots more free food and whatnot at work or anything. But even like nowadays, like recently, like I was able to take like a chocolate making class through my work, so that was pretty cool. But I think like tech companies like sort of will spoil their employees a little more than other types of companies, I feel like.
Okay. Um, and three disadvantages.
Three disadvantages. I think when you're close to crunch time, then there's more of an expectation of you need to work some overtime to get the project done, right? So
Mm,
during like crunch time, then sometimes I'll be working up to like 2 a.m. or whatever until like the deadline isn't, you know, passed. So that's sort of one disadvantage. Like there's sort of that expectation there. I guess too, sometimes when you're stuck on a problem, sometimes it feels like you don't know when you're going to be unstuck. So I think there can be a little bit uncertainty there. And yeah, I think sometimes problems you come across can be like hard, I guess, and like it feels like you're just stuck and not making any progress for a few days.
mm.
And I think that can be mentally hard to deal with.
Ambiguous, yeah. Mm,
Yeah. And then three, um, I would say it can be competitive to get into. I think that's more relevant nowadays. Like,
mm.
if you're like trying to
Very
interview for a
competitive
job,
out
right, there's
there.
probably lots of other people getting that trying for that same job, right? So you
Mm-hmm.
really need to like try to be really competitive and sort of be on your A game to really get the job, I think.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm gonna ask you the last question. What keeps you in this field? What
What keeps
keeps
me in this field?
you?
I mean, I enjoy the problem solving aspect of it, right? I still think I get that now with my job. And then like the flexibility is also nice. Like I feel like I can usually have a good work-life balance and like um where I can work from anywhere for a few days if I want to, that type of thing. And then I think right now it's just a pretty comfortable place for me to um I'm okay with my current pay. Like it's not the highest it could be, but I'm still happy with it. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really motivated to like switch at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, this video is going to be popular with people who are, again, in high school, yeah, or college students, or even adults who are thinking about the career change.
hmm
Um, what kind of advice can you give them? The final advice. I know you gave a lot of
Final advice. I mean,
final advice.
final advice. I mean, I would say just try out a programming class, or if there's no class, try out a club, or maybe try to code up a personal project on your own. I think, and if you enjoy that, then I think there's a good chance you might enjoy this field.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So trying it out, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Elaine, for answering all my questions and
hmm
sharing your experience.
Yeah. Thanks for having
Um,
me on here.
yeah, in the software engineering, and I wish you prosperous career down the road.
Yeah. Thanks.
Okay, bye bye.
All right, bye.